Okay, story time. Last week, I am sitting in my college dorm room watching Let's Stream, watching him watch my world record video, and he loves it, and he puts me through instantly. I was one of his picks. Then this guy tells me what I have to do is play this weird flight simulator game that no one has ever heard of before. But that's what we had to play. We had to make that game entertaining somehow. Right off the bat, I don't know what I'm doing. I have to make this interesting because it's a flight simulator. What the fuck am I gonna do with a flight simulator? I thought, what is the one thing you do with planes? Jump out of them, obviously. So I'm still in college. I still have finals. I call my mom on the phone, and I have not told her about this competition at all. And I explained to her, Mom, you need to come pick me up from college so I can jump out of a plane in the next 48 hours. And for some fucking reason, she does it for me. I literally just, right after that stream, I packed up. I was gone. I was calling places. I was calling different fucking places. Who the fuck can get me on a plane so I can jump out of it? I called Delta United. They're not really into that kind of stuff, unfortunately. But I scheduled this. The thing was on a Thursday. I scheduled this Saturday morning. When I woke up on that Thursday morning to watch Lud's stream, I did not think that I would be jumping out of a plane in the next 48 hours, by that Saturday. And lo and behold, that is absolutely what I was doing. So we pack up, head back home. I have just enough time when I get back to unload all my shit. It's actually still all in this big box, and there's 2 more. I have not even had time to unpack everything. I hastily made this setup. I hastily made everything behind me. Apologies for the absolutely disgusting paint job, by the way. I had to watch the videos that night. I had to watch the videos online. They give you videos before you jump out of a plane to let you know how to jump out, what the rules are, that you're gonna sign away your entire life in this waiver, which you actually have to do. You have to sign a waiver, a couple waivers, that say no matter what happens at all jumping out of this plane, you cannot sue them. You can get injured in any way, like gross negligence. They could directly look at you in the eyes, cut your line, and have you drop to the ground, and your family could not do a damn thing about it, which was a little nerve-wracking. And then if you watch Ludwig's video, you might remember that they had to watch a video of this guy with most insane looking man you've ever seen, a massive beard, who apparently invented the tandem skydive. He looks insane. He looks like the man who invented the tandem skydive. He's supposed to tell you like safety stuff, but all he tells you for about 10 to 20 minutes is that you very well could die, that people have died, that anything could go wrong, and it very well might. You could get very injured. You could get killed. Your instructor could as well. And that was not reassuring, considering I had put about a couple hours of thought into jumping out of a plane at this point. It was not very reassuring to hear that. That was actually the most nervous I ever was to jump out of the plane, though, because I was like, oh my god, I'm actually gonna do this. But I had that thought in my head. It was for the content. I knew if I had to be the best, if I had to be the maverick, I have to do something that's gonna set me apart from everyone but Evan Gao. Because let me tell you something, when I had this idea, I thought it was unique, I thought it was great. I thought Evan Gao was also going to do it. We'll speed up to the day. I have no idea what to expect. The place is in somewhere I'm familiar with, but not in a good way. It is a very hillbilly town. I wasn't too confident, and I didn't really know what the airport was gonna look like. But let me tell you, this airport was a couple shacks in a runway. This place is a fucking shack. This is it. This is it. It had an awning with a bunch of little planes under it, one building that was like the skydiving headquarters, and another building that was gas, and that was it. All of it was didn't look like it was in very great shape. All of the planes were very small. I had watched Lud's video. I had seen the big door and the big planes they jumped out of. I thought it'd be fine. They did not have those planes. They were not there. So I started to get a little bit more worried. We go through the whole training course. They train you how to actually jump and do it safely, because they emphasize it's not a carnival ride. Something you do, if you do something wrong, you could die. You could literally just fall and splat, or even worse, not die. I feel like that'd be worse if you didn't hit the ground and just instantly splat. That probably wouldn't be very great. Not very pog, if I do say so myself. We go through the whole thing. The planes apparently are only big enough for the pilot, 2 student jumpers, and the 2 instructor jumpers going with them. So that is a total of 5 people. That is how big the plane is. And they have been messing with me the whole time about everything in this situation. My instructor grabs a parachute bag. A guy comes out of the side room and yells at him. They're like, hey, I think that one's still being worked on, actually. And he goes, it's probably fine. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably fine. It's probably really cool, actually, yeah. As he's harnessing me up, putting the harness on me, I'm trying to make small talk. I'm trying to be a friendly guy. I'm like, so how long have you been doing this? And this guy doesn't skip a beat. He's like, oh, 3.5 weeks. I laughed a little. I literally laughed. And without skipping a beat, he's like, is that not enough? And I was like, if it's enough for you, big man, I mean, I guess, like, what choice do I have? But no, they were messing with me the whole time. He told me he had 10 years of experience. And I asked him, I was like, what makes you want to be a parachute instructor to do tandem like this? And he says to me, is this your first jump? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you're about to find out. I was like, damn, that's one of the most badass lines anyone has ever said to me. So we walk out onto the tarmac into this plane, this very small plane. And I notice the plane only has 1 seat, and that seat is for the pilot. Everyone else is sitting on the floor of this plane. We crammed 2 people in the back and 2 people in the front, and then the pilot, and that's it. And I have to sit in the front. I was the last person to get in, and I was not facing straight or sideways. I was facing the back of the plane, facing the rest of the people. My back was to the controls. If I put my head back, I would have hit a button. I couldn't move my head back. The door is right here. Like, if I moved like this, I would hit the door. And if I moved like this, I would hit the pilot. The pilot was right here. I was cramped like this. And worse yet, my instructor was in front of me. Now, you know, I prefer the guy with the parachute who knows what he's doing to be the guy on my back. So the fact that he was in front of me for most of the time was again mildly concerning, but it was too late to back out now. We start going down the runway, we start moving, and the door next to me is not shut. They don't shut the door. And the pilot goes to my instructor, they're like, hey man, did they ever get this door fixed? And he goes, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure you guys are joking. I remember Ludwig saying they kept the door open in their plane for AC, which again, yeah, that's kind of insane. The door's like closed, like in his, it was completely open. It was like closed, but not latched shut. So if I leaned to the left too far, I would literally fall out onto the runway. I was like, man, this does not seem safe. And luckily they were fucking with me. Right before we took off, he latches it shut. Thank God I did not have the potential to literally fall out of this goddamn bush plane in the middle of nowhere. We go up there. I thought it was very beautiful. My instructor was very nice. He was telling me all the sights. But I notice as I'm sitting there, cramped in, I'm right next to the door, and the door is shut. And I look down at the bottom of the door, and there is a hole in the door. It's a corner like this, but the door is curved. So there's like a hole like this. And I look down that hole, and that is really where you can tell how high you are. You can be in a plane looking like across everything, across the flat earth that we live on. You can look across that, and you don't really, you know, you're high up. You don't really get a sense of it. It's only when you look straight down do you realize how high you are. Through this little hole in the door of this plane, I could see the ground. And that was not a great feeling. That was a little scary. But the worst feeling was one of my harnesses was dangling outside of this hole. One of the harnesses had gone into this hole in the plane, and I'm looking at it and I'm trying to like move it back in, but it's not. It's just like kind of flapping outside. And I look at it and I look up at my instructor and I say, nothing. I don't say anything. I'm just like, man, that's probably normal. That's nothing I should be concerned with. And in hindsight, that is insane of me. It is crazy I did not say anything when that harness is the only thing keeping me attached to him, which is keeping me from down there. But eventually, we get up to the right height. And it's a beautiful day. You can see from the video, it's a great day. I think he actually did, he spun me around first. He spins me around and harnesses me up tightens me up, puts the goggles around my face, then he opens the door. This plane is not, again, I must emphasize, not like the plane Evan Gow and Ludwig jumped out of. This is a small bush plane. So when you open this door, the landing gear is always out. There's always tires. That's how small it is. There's a little metal step on the tire outside of the plane. So what you have to do, instead of just jumping out of the plane, you have to hold on to the side of the plane, put your foot on this little metal thing. Like as the wind is blowing at you, my instructor takes the first step. I step out right behind him and he tells me just before that if I do not go into a very specific position when I jump, my foot could hit the metal thing, like the metal wheel that I'm standing on, and potentially throw us completely off course or break my foot. I was a little worried about that, but then we were out of the plane, and that feeling is incredible. It's such a cool feeling. We didn't jump with anyone else. Like you can see in Evan Gow's videos, he has multiple camera angles because other people were jumping with him. Same with Ludwig. It was just me and my guy. It was just us two hopping out of this little ass bush plane in the goddamn backwoods upstate New York is what it was. Eventually it ends, pulls the parachute, everything's fine. As we're going down, I'm like, man, this is cool as hell. This is great. And he pulls down two little latches from the parachute, two little handles. He's like, all right, grab onto this one for me. Yoink. Grab onto this one. Yoink. He's like, all right, we're gonna do some spins. And I'm like, fuck yeah, we're gonna do some spins. And he said, pull the right one down hard and pull the left one up and we'll just stop whenever. And I fucking rip that shit down and we start doing these fucking spins in the parachute going down. And at the very end, we come down back at the airport. Beautiful landing. I got tangled up in the parachute wires, but that was it. Looking back on it, it was a bit sketch, but I'd do it again at that place. They knew what they were doing. They were all very cool people, and I like them a lot. If I ever were to do it again, for some godforsaken reason, if XQC does a competition where I need to jump out of a plane, then maybe I pull a DB Cooper next time, or I just jump out of the back of a commercial plane. Let me tell you, if I had died doing this competition, I sure hope I would have won. If he had given me my hour on his stream at my funeral, me sitting in my coffin, I would have died happy. I'll tell you that much.